Welcome to High Five. We talk about the last 5 days of learning put out every Friday at 5 p.m. inspired by one cognitized card. I am Scott. Me.
I be Rory, and it's good to be back, Scott. It's been a while, but it's probably been a good couple of weeks since we did the last high five,
Oh,
and that's had absolutely nothing to do with the fact that there's been lots of things to be eaten and drank, and yeah, and just taking a wee break over Christmas, and then an enforced break that we're all kind of within now as well because we're back in lockdown and shops are closed and schools are off and homeschooling's to be done. But it's good to be back, and I am happy to be doing high five ish again with you.
well, I thought we'd kick off the year by doing one little simple card that's maybe reflective of. I'd love to know your thoughts about this card and what has happened for you in the last 5 days and what you've been doing. So the card here is this one here called "Wish You Were Here." Now, normally in High Five, we have a guest on and we speak to that guest. But obviously, pre-Christmas, we had some conversations with some fabulous people. And we've got some LinkedIn messages sitting there waiting to be followed up from myself, actually, to make sure we get those people on as guests as well in future weeks ahead as well. But we thought Rory and I would kick off with talking about this "Wish You Were Here" card, about where do you wish you actually were in the present moment and what you've been doing for the last 5 days. So this card talks about what you want to learn in the next month or the months ahead and what you would like to do, and then hopefully work towards that destination of where you would like to get to. Now, I'm recording this at 1 minute past 4, and as you might just hear very faintly in the background, the dogs in the garden next door get fed at 1 minute past 4, so you can only hear about 5 golden retrievers barking. So if you listen very carefully, you can just hear nature at work. Anyway, my last 5 days, Rory, have been consumed by thinking about the next couple of months ahead. But before I do that, yours is probably dramatically different from mine because obviously furloughed now, you're having to close off your business a little bit in terms of what you're doing. So let's hear about your 5 days first before I share mine, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's been an interesting time of it. As you know, Merchants of Fun is currently closed to the general public, and that means that I haven't been able to get the team together. I haven't been able to make any educational demos happen. There's been nobody coming in and playing games, and I actually really miss the sound of pieces falling on tables and craziness going on, and just the general day-to-day banter of it. But and also at this time of year should normally be the very, very busy time for the international toy community because you've got London Toy Fair, German Toy Fair, New York all happen around this time of year, and they're obviously cancelled as well. So I'm in a little bit of a limbo. But in saying that, my last 5 days of learning have been good, and I feel like I'm putting that to good use because I've been back posting again on Cognitize, which I'm enjoying. And apart from that, I have also been trying to find out some fantastic products out in the kind of international scene that I can bring back to the UK so that we can play with families and we can play with anybody who wants to be able to take part in what we do and the mayhem that is Merchants of Fun. So even though I'm kind of curtailed with the confines of lockdown 3 or 3.1, whatever it is, I still think the last 5 days of learning have been good. It's been good to kind of, I think I hit the seventh and then ran at 100 miles an hour just to get caught up on stuff for the last 7 days. So it's been good. And I know you and I have been still working on something. I'm working on some other big project that I can't really talk about just yet, but it goes back to the card that we did at the start of the High Five of Five, which was vulnerability counts and speculative to accumulate. So watch this space. That's kind of what I've been working on the last 5 days, Scott.
Okay. I think I've floated through the last few weeks, if I'm really honest. I got to Christmas Eve and I'd put so many hours into everything that I went, right, I've got some stuff to do over Christmas and then I'm going to come back after the schools go back and get on with work, and then schools, I've got 3 kids, as you know, but working from home, and I went, I'm just going to gradually ease myself back into this and try and find the right energy to focus in on my work. So I've been doing lots of stuff in the background, but not much in the foreground, and certainly not much online in the foreground because I've tried to take myself a little bit of a space for it. But if I sit back and think about the last 5 days of learning, the one thing that's been in my mind is something that I wanted to do last year, that we didn't get to do because of various lockdowns and stuff. So of all the things that I want to do in learning this year, the one thing that I want to do where I wish, um, and that wish you were here principle where I'd like to get to. I bought a bottle of whiskey in January last year, which is an 18-year-old Isle of Jura special edition. And I bought it because what I wanted to do was go on a pilgrimage to a house at the very north tip of the Isle of Jura. It's a little house called Barnhill, and the house was where George Orwell completed his work in 1984, which is obviously got massive relevance in the current political context in the world at the moment, but not because I'm the biggest fan of the book, but the way in which the book was written and the circumstances by which the book was written in, and somebody wanting to work in complete isolation to see what imagination and glory would flow from it, and craft would flow from the space of isolation. And George Orwell called this particular part of the Isle of Jura a truly unget-atable place because it was so remote. It was off-grid, no telephones. You have to bring your food with you and your food and drink with you. So I have this dream in the next months ahead that Rory and I, and anyone else that's watching this that wants to join us and go on that pilgrimage, are going to go to that house at the top of Jura. Probably going to walk there to make it an even bigger challenge when we get off the ferry. We're going to take that bottle of whiskey with us, and we're going to plant it in front of the fire, in front of George Orwell's typewriter, and we're going to see what it creates. And one of the things that I certainly learned in the last 5 days of learning is about the spirit of pilgrimage. It's not necessarily clear in terms of what you're doing whilst you're there, but what is clear is you've got a mission of what you want to. You have a good reason for going there. You have an objective of why you're going there. But what you actually create from it is determined by what nature provides, or what the environment provides for you, what your actually creative output is going to be. So I'm really excited by it. I'm excited by the curiosity and the nomadic nature of not knowing what it's actually going to be when we get there. But working with a collective and a group of people to say, well, what's our reason? What's our pilgrimage? What are we going there to do? Are we all going there to discover our truly ungettable place and allow our kind of dreams to flow from it, or our passions to flow from it? For the last 18 months, I've had the screenshot of that house on Jura on the front of my phone because it's been in my head rooted that I need to get to this destination in order to complete something, but I still don't know what it is that I need to complete. So for the next months ahead, I've got lots of stuff going on with Cognityze and Imaginosity, lots of stuff with Learning Lab, lots of stuff with Virtual Punks with Kirsty. Above anything else, I want to drink that bottle of whiskey in that house with some friends, or some new friends that I haven't met yet, and go on that pilgrimage to see what we might discover from it as well.
Absolutely. And I just, every time we've shared this story and you've told me about it, Scott, going back to my background with books and literature, and just the whole idea that we could escape there and just do something spontaneous but creative at the same time. I think it would be my wish you were here as well. And I think that card is relevant today as well for me because the weather's starting to change. Even though it's a bit cold still in the UK, as you know, and as Jeff knows, the winter is not my time of year, and the spring and the summer is my time of year. And I just want to come back to life at that point. I want nature to come back to life. I wanted to see greenery. I want to see blues. I want to see sunny skies. So we will be on that island at some point. I think we're both committed to doing it. And if others decided to join us, I think that would be even more epic.
And there's no need to climb all the parts of Jura on the way, by the way, just in case everybody's kind of ruling themselves out because of their dodgy knees. That's not necessarily part of the journey. It's more about the journey in itself that we travel through and the destination we arrive at. So normally at the end of high five, we shuffle a set of cards and we take them all out and we kind of put them into order and we throw them up in the air and we shuffle them around and we pick someone who's the guest on the high five session to nominate someone else. But as it's Rory and I chatting today, we decided in advance of it who we'd like to have on for a chat. And for high fives going out this year, we're going to nominate different people, but obviously if the world is moving at the pace it is at the moment, it's not always easy to get that person immediately within the next few days. But the person who we're going to chat to is Joanna Savannah, who I've been really blessed to get to know and build a really strong friendship with over the last 8 months through both our Kindfest events that we've done and our Be the Ripple movement as well. So, Joe, your card that we're going to come and speak to you about this week is this one here. Happy New
Year.
The stuff that this lady has done with Be the Ripple is so inspiring. That I think that the partnerships that you forge with other people, that you connect with other people, and the insights and ideas that Be the Ripple provides is something that we could all learn from. So we're going to grab Jo and get her on for a high five conversation so that she can share more of her wonderful kindness and ideas in our Be the Ripple movement so that you can learn from others. So that's what we're going to do next.
I'm looking forward to it, and that will be a conversation worth having, because since we've both gotten to know Jo, it has just been enlightening for us. So, Jo, I will see you and Scott on Wednesday.
She's got great taste in music, so that's always a bonus as well. If the talk doesn't go well, we'll just play music for 5 minutes. I'll be happy anyway. Anyway, we'll see you soon. Take care. High five, Rory.
Cheers, mate.